Hey, speakers, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So go ahead and like and subscribe, and let's get started. Hey everyone, this is Just Being Me coming to you with another video on this evening. So, of course, as you can see in my thumbnail, we are going to go ahead and go over the 100th episode special that they had with the super fans. Y'all, did y'all get a chance to watch it? Of course, you leave down in your comments if you were able to catch that scene. If you didn't, girl, I'm going to try to bring you up to speed with it. Now, of course, before we get started, go ahead and please like and subscribe to the channel. And also turn on those notification bells so you will be the first for the notifications to know when another video is uploaded. But of course, we're not going to I'm not gonna hold you. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. We'll be here not too long. Just wanted to kind of touch bases with everybody. I'm kind of getting excited for the season to start. So I have been looking and waiting all day, watching the clock to make sure that I was able to catch the episode. I didn't want to have to watch the replay way at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. So here we have it. So the episode was really, it was really, really good. It was good to see that, they thought enough to, have the fans come up and give their take on the different cast members and the past episodes, which were their favorite episodes. So I think that was really, really nice. That was something different. And I really, really enjoyed it. And it was kind of interesting to hear how everybody, had their opinions on the different cast members. And we're going to go ahead and get into it just in case you didn't get that opportunity to see that. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about it a little bit. So, of course, as I said, they, chose, I know, I'm not sure if you remember, but a couple of months ago, they did have with, you could write in and send in a video to be, considered one of their super fans of the actual show. So they actually, went over and picked their selection. And of course, we were able to see them and to hear their side and what was the most memorable moments. And, kind of get into it and what made them a super fan. Pretty much a lot of them shared that they have pretty much been following the show since the very first season, which a lot of us have. And it was kind of good to see, different point of views and how people actually see and feel, which a lot of times here on YouTube, we get to get different opinions on things. So it was good to hear the different perspectives. Now, of course, they kind of started out with it was a super fan. Her name was Elizabeth, and she started out by saying that Mel was, a boss. She was a boss. She was like one of her favorites there on the show. Shanita stated that the Scots are very, very hot. Then Janae also went on to say that she really enjoyed it when they were the actual comeback group because it kind of gave a highlight to, Black excellence. It was, showed a lot of Black excellence. They wouldn't show if they was coming back or not, but either way, at some point, they did show, the good side of, Black couples being able to come together and create such, a successful business. Andrea also stated that she pretty much watched Mel's marriage dissolve, and it happened publicly because we all know that pretty much when the season or the actual show started is pretty much was the beginning of everything, with Martell and his side chick. And and Mel has also voiced, her side of it on why she chose to continue on with the show, because in the beginning we all know that Mel was kind of apprehensive and didn't really want to do it because of the things that was kind of taking place in her life. So literally she actually shared from the very beginning up to now her journey in, going through all of this, the pain, having to rebuild. We literally see that play out. And side note, I was kind of explaining to my husband today because he see, because like I said, I've been saying this all day. I got to watch the episode, I got to watch it. And so I kind of was trying to bring him up to speed on how the show started, who was who, how it all started, which of course he probably tuned me out after a while. But anywho, I explained to him how I, look up to her. She is very, very motivational. And even one of the fans, even said that she even gave her, the courage to leave a toxic relationship. And I think that is why so many people gravitate to Mel, because a lot of women can relate to what Mel actually was going through. And we all know of someone, if it had not been us personally, that has went through similar situations. It may not have been publicly like this, but similar situations. So I think that is the reason why so many people kind of gravitate to her, as well as how we have seen how she has actually went through all of this with as much grace as she possibly can, through the circumstances. Because, of course, it's a lot of us that may have handled it way different, but she chose to take a route that was pleasing to her, and it has worked in her favor, as we can see. But anyways, Carlos then goes on to asking about Mel and her super fans. Now, I can say this. I'm going to say this because people tend to think that Carlos don't really care for Mel. And I have also had my opinion on that. And I kind of, my take on it before was, does he care for her the way he used to in the past? Because we have seen where, last reunion, he cried and empathized so much with Martell and how he felt for Martell and all of that. But not one time did we see publicly where he gave that same energy to Mel, knowing what all she had been through, what she was going through. We didn't see that. But I can say, to me, it's like, to me, Mel had the biggest portion of this. Now, I don't know if it was because she's executive producer. I'm not really sure. But to me, it really highlighted a lot of her strong points. And I'll kind of go through that. But he spoke with some of her super fans. The first one was Misha, that stated that she shares the same similarity, and it gave her courage, as I was saying, to leave a toxic relationship. She stated that she pretty much had watched Mel since season 1, when Mel first announced that she was pregnant, and she's seen her go through all of that in real time. Also, Natasha stated that Mel is a queen. Jasmine went on to say that her favorite scene is when Mel started her new life without Martell. And they kind of showed a clip when, I want to say, Mel may have been in the attorney's office. I'm not really, really sure where she was, but it showed that pretty much she, had almost looked like the weight of the world on her shoulder, but again, looking beautiful as ever, but realizing that pretty much a piece of her life was pretty much gone. And she had to find a way to live again without someone that had been a part of her life for a very, very long time. And so this was the beginning stage of her pretty much, regathering herself, finding her again. So she stated that was just the realest, that was the realest scene that this show has ever had, because literally this woman had to pick up the pieces and find a way to find herself. And I don't know if any of you have ever went through a breakup with someone, whether married or a long-term relationship, and it seems as though I even explained it in one of my videos, how I was with someone for so long, and you dedicate so much of your life to them and what's going on in your household, that when things tend to happen and they're no longer a part of your life, it seems as though you lost, because everything you did pretty much revolved around that person. You created a business with this person, you've created and had children with this person. I mean, even sometimes waking up in the morning and not hearing the shower going from that person being there can affect you. I even explained that listening to certain songs on the radio, I no longer listen to anymore, because it kind of reminded me of my past. So, of course, it had to have been hard. But also, Carlos highlighted that, Melody pretty much has been through all of this, but she has did it with so much grace and in due time. As we see as of today, Melanie has several businesses. So not only has she came up out of that, but throughout this process, she has grown and created such a brand for herself. She's a brand. She's a walking brand all by herself. Who wouldn't be proud of that? Who wouldn't be? So he even made mention, hell, she got more jobs than he got. And and to me, and that was, questionable for me, at one point, because it did seem as though Carlos wasn't giving Melody, as much grace and empathy that he did to other cast members. But he says that he loved Mel. He said that he genuinely loved her. And I think he does. Now, sometimes it kind of seemed a little shaky, but really and truly, I think the way Mel carried herself and her demeanor, you would just have to be a hateful person that don't want to love or like her for your own selfish reasons. I don't think it's because she's doing anything to you. I think it would have to be some type of deep-rooted issue, envy, jealous, or something for you just to say, I don't like her. A lot of people can be around us, smiling our face every day, congratulate us, but in the inside, they wondering how you did it. They wondering why at the end, they trying to figure out a way of bringing you down to some way or form or fashion. But I generally think he is happy for her. They go on to highlight the blow-ups and what have been memorable moments and blow-ups for the super fans. So one of the super fans, Bobby, stated that when Mel went off about Martell and the situation with Ariane, and he was mad, of course, that Mel decided to tell people. He was saying that Mel should have kept it in the household. And you remember when Mel told him, no, you should have kept your penis in the household. So Bobby highlighted that. Queen said that she didn't understand Destiny and the greeting. And she pretty much stated, when all that happened at Madani, and Destiny made such a big deal about Melanie not speaking to her or saying that Melody didn't speak to her. And Queen said that maybe if she wasn't standing there with such a stank face, maybe she could have heard her. They also kind of touched on the fact of the fashions. And one of the fans said and commented on Martell. You remember when he had that little little get up on that day? And she was like, he came out there looking like the king of Zamunda, which I thought was really, really funny, because really and truly, she ain't lying. She ain't lying. He was over the top with that one, but I guess we can honestly say maybe he didn't have on that suit, or maybe he did. He did still have on that suit, but he had the little fox get up on top of it. So then they went on to talking about Martell. Now, Carlos, it was like, y'all be nice. Make sure y'all nice. And one of the super fans, Felicia, said that he is fine, but the lights on, but ain't nobody at home. So pretty much take that take it how you will. But pretty much she said he is fine, but the lights is on, but ain't nobody home, honey. Fred, which was one of the male super fans, stated that he have a love and hate relationship with Martell. He says the minute he think that Martell is moving in the right direction, he goes off and do something crazy, which I think we all can attest to that, because even I at one point thought, okay, well, maybe he is, growing up. And then he'll backdoor and do something real crazy. But Fred said that a lot of times, just when he thinking Martell is, on the up and up, he come with some foolishness, and he asking why Martell, just why. So then they go on to talk about Tisha and Marshall, and the question was, has Marshall cheated? One of the super fans, Sonetta, stated she said pretty much she thinks that Marceau has cheated at some point, that she thinks that he's cheated. Another super fan, Marquivia, and please forgive me if I'm saying the names wrong, but Marquavia, she said that it's some truth, but he must have learned lessons from an old school player, and she just wished that Tisha would stop acting like a Densett blonde. Now, if she couldn't have said it better, she could not have said it better. Meaning that, yeah, he learned from the old schools, and whoever it is that he dealing with, at least I guess he dealing with some females that, you know, pretty much the secret is safe with her type thing, up until he make her mad, and then we might hear something a little later. Don't be surprised. Then they go on to remembering moments with Dr. Francis. And one of the super fans named Shantae, she stated that one of her most memorable moments with Dr. Francis is when Martell told Dr. Francis that Ariane was a peasant. And pretty much, you know, Dr. Francis was like, okay, so if she's a peasant, what does that make you? And that's true. Like, what does that make you? I mean, that don't say too much about you, that you allow someone that you are considering to be a peasant, and then since then have said was 15%, if I'm not mistaken. You mean to tell me that you allowed such person to be the cause of the demise of your marriage and your family? That don't say too much about you at all. Javon then states that he feels that therapy is very important. Ivy or Envy stated that Dr. Francis is great and he was doing a fabulous job. She couldn't understand how it was such a big issue with Tiffany and Lewis when they were there, because of course we seen where Tiffany was more into her phone and her work than she was in the therapy sessions, which to me, it has always kind of felt like a kind of a disconnect with Tiffany and Lewis at one point. Because it just looks to me as maybe he was more into her than she was into him, but I don't know. It is what it is. So then they did go ahead and start speaking about Tiffany and Lewis, and Carlos mentioned at that point that, of course, Tiffany and Lou had their baby. He is a baby boy by the name of Ace Alexander Whitlow. So of course, congratulations to Tiffany and Lou. Carlos did make mention, don't ask me to babysit because I'm not. You know, he the uncle to everybody, but he ain't gonna babysit, he said. So then they also go on to the scene with Kimmy. Of course, Kimmy kind of, you know, gave a little background. Of course, you know, we all know that back in June, Kimmy found a lump. And then after she found the lump, okay, she was diagnosed with her diagnosis. April, which is one of the super fans, stated that it was that Kimmy is a very problematic person, and it was so hard to watch her journey. And I can say this because I know a lot of people tend to, you know, kind of not sway with Kimmy. It's hard with Kimmy. And I think with Kimmy's position, I think by her being Maurice's wife and Marceau's sister-in-law, I think she's always, it seems as though she's always stuck in the middle. And it seems as though they kind of make her pick a side. Not, you know, and regardless, sister-in-law, wife, however it go, you should never make a person, I would say, choose a side, because you should know your loyalty and your place in that person's life. So it shouldn't be to where you have to, you know, feel as though someone have to pick a side. You know, and when it came to Mel, to me, even we seen it play out when, you know, they were, you know, how Mel felt about Kimmy and her diagnosis. We seen and heard that Mel sent flowers. She, you know, she stuck by Kimmy. And I think we're also going to see in this upcoming season how Kimmy and Mel kind of stuck together throughout this journey. So to see how, to me, I just always feel as though she's in the middle, and it's like she want to do the right thing, but at the same time she really don't know how. Now I do know it was a little shady with, you know, the things she pulled with the Mark situation. So she is one that I guess you got to handle with a long handle spoon. I don't know. But there we have it. So congratulations. I'm glad because as we have seen and heard that, of course, she is now cancer free. So congratulations to her. Thank God, that part of her journey is over. Now she did give a message, and I'm gonna play a little bit of it. Of course, I'm not gonna put it on the screen, but I'll play a little bit of it. Because she did have a message for all of the fans. So just in case you didn't get an opportunity to hear that message, I will go ahead and play it. But as I stated, just a little. And again, everything is for entertainment purposes. Also, my fair use is at the bottom of the screen on. So please, please, please don't, So give me 1 second.
The best that I have felt in months. And I'm grateful for that. My last chemo treatment was December the 5th. So at this point, I'm really just trying to get a lot of those toxins out of my body and detox and just kind of get around to my best self. Surgery also went well. It was uncomplicated. Radiation thus far has been uncomplicated. I'm about halfway through, so we're going to get this last leg of this race over in short fashion. I appreciate all the prayers, the love, the letters. There's a couple of places that I would have never thought that I would be. And one of them is on a reality TV show at the 100th episode, no less, with D. Carlos King. And the other is actually fighting breast cancer. But, here I am. And so at this point, I have become very intentional in regards to my conversation about pre-screening, doing your breast self-exams, getting your mammograms done, because those measures can literally save your life with early detection. I'm a witness to early detection. I am a living witness to early detection. So I appreciate Carlos King and Kingdom Reign allowing our show to show a measure of transparency in that regard and join you in your living rooms every Saturday night. Let's get to that 100th episode.
So there we have it, where we heard Kimmy and her message to all of her fans. So again, congratulations to Kimmy. Thank God that she is past all of that. And I do look forward to seeing Kimmy this coming season to see, how was the connection with her and Mel, and pretty much how is things going to go, moving forward. So then they moved on to Miss Wanda. Carlos said, baby, Miss Wanda, Miss Wanda, Miss Wanda. So one of the super fans said that when Wanda stepped on the scene, it's always a party. Okay, yeah, it's a party, all right. A party and a hunk full of mess. Anywho, Sonetta stated that says that Wanda needs a show on that is called The Other Side of the Tracks. Now, we all kind of tease Wanda about being on the other side of the tracks. And where did we all get that from? Pretty much her son-in-law. Anyways, Queen said she is one walking wrecking crew in a horse nest. She did say that, Wanda's gonna bring it. She gonna bring it. You bring it to her and she gonna, get with you. She gonna roll with you. Also, Natasha said that Wanda needs to fall back and sit down. And Carlos pretty much says that he loved Miss Wanda. Which that is to be expected, because I think Carlos, he understands the assignment of his job. He understands that mess and drama sells. So it would not surprise me if we were to see Wanda back on the show. I don't think Wanda would probably be in too many scenes. She's kind of hinted around that like she wasn't on the show, but then she kind of hinted around like she was on the show. So I really, really don't know at this point. But I just wouldn't be surprised. I just wouldn't be surprised. But anyhow, then they went over and talked about the favorite mom moments. And April stated that Miss Vanessa and Marlene said that she loved them both. And she said she loves how Marlene empathizes with Mel, and how she empathizes with her, but she has Martell back. And on that note, I kind of agree, because at one moment I felt that Miss Marlene really, really kind of rode for Mel, but then it was a lot of scenes that were very questionable to me. Now, we also know that a lot of scenes are edited out, and I think where Miss Marlene kind of lost me was when she made the statement almost like Mel was lazy, and she didn't really bring too much into their marriage or however. But of course, I know Miss Marlene is not blind, and I know she's not deaf. So I know she see and hear about everything and the accomplishments Mel have made versus the accomplishments at this point that her son has made. So really and truly, it almost make what she said very, very, you had no leg to stand on with that comment, because as we can see, you can't be a lazy woman and have several businesses. You can't be a lazy woman with several business, 4 children, and all of this. You can't be no lazy woman and maintain all of this and have success with it. So maybe she maybe should have kept that to herself. But again, we all know how mothers are towards their sons, which to me hints a lot of times why the sons tend to act the way they do. Because regardless, right or wrong or indifferent, their mother is going to uphold them. Now, I'm not going to say all of them, because I do know of mothers that is going to, they going to tell their son, you dead wrong. And they going to stick to you dead wrong. Now, they're going to still love them, but they're going to let them know. But then we do have those mothers that tend to be, I'm going to go along to get along. I'm going to go and I'm going to uphold my son in this right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm going to, uphold him. And a lot of times those are the men that never really grow up, because no matter what they do or say, they have someone that's supposed to be speaking positivity in them, especially if they didn't have their father. A lot of them look to their mother for that advice. They look to their mother to speak to the situation. And if you have a mother that's going to sit up here and uphold you and is not going to tell you right from wrong, then pretty much everything they do, they just going to feel it's okay because my mom ain't saying nothing about it, or if they seen their mama go through situations such as, things that they go through, they tend to, people live pretty much what they see. When you know better, you do better. Period, point blank. So I think with, the situation with Martell and Miss Marlene, she is acting the way a lot of mothers act. She is acting the way a lot of mothers act. No, I mean, and I'm not trying to defend her, but we just got to call a thing a thing. It is a lot of mothers that are like that, but then again, they are a lot of mothers that's not going to uphold this. And to me, it is a true statement. You cannot raise a man. Whatever they mother failed at, please don't think because you marry them that you can try to re-raise them and change their way of thinking. A lot of times that don't work that way. Anyways, Natasha stated that she loved Miss Marlene as well. So of course, Miss Marlene is getting a lot of love from the fans. And then Felicia says that Miss Wanda needs to be tied up and put in the corner in timeout for a long period of time. Meaning, I guess she is one of the fans that do not want to see Miss Wanda come back this season. And I think it's a lot of us that probably feel that way. But I don't know. Again, I don't know. So then he goes on to introduce his co-host, which was Sonia. And she's actually from Huntsville. She stated that she had been following Carlos King prior to Love and Marriage Huntsville ever coming out. So she's always been a fan of Carlos. And he really did surprise her. And I thought that was really, really nice. But she was the one that kind of introduced what was going on next, the next scene that was going to happen, which they went on to talk about the reunion. Now, in between that is when we heard they also played the portion of the Oprah Winfrey's message to the cast of Love and Marriage Huntsville. And of course, we discussed that and talked about that in my previous video. But on the reunion scenes, Umini, I'm not sure of the name, but anyways, she stated that the reunions were too cutthroat, and they kind of played the scene where they asked Martell, well, has Marceau ever cheated, or does he have, or do you ever know of Marceau cheating? And of course, we know that Martell gave this look. Jocelyn also stated that it's not about what you say, it's what you don't say. And pretty much it was, they brought up the scene with when Maurice kind of stated when they were asking about the apartment, the alleged apartment, and he starts spewing out this address. But I'm thinking Maurice was kind of really being petty, and he was giving an address that probably everybody on that stage knew about. So, also, let's see, Bobby stated that the butt pic that was supposedly in Marceau's phone, and pretty much, was it in the phone? What was it? And really, what was Tisha's real, reaction to the picture? Because of course, they kind of piddle pattered around it on the actual reunion, and Kiki kind of broke it down as much as they can, but at the same time I felt like they were kind of backpedaling and crawfishing on the situation, so you never really got a full take on it. Tisha kind of played it like it wasn't no big deal, but we all know how Tisha can tend to be. Fred stated that Carlos, when Carlos told Martell that he was still in love with Melody, was one of his most memorable scenes on the reunions. And pretty much, of course, they go back to the last reunion where Carlos actually had the meltdown and, stated he was pretty much, I guess felt sorry for Martell because he felt that Martell was missing his family. And when he asked that, pretty much Martell did state that he do miss, things with his family. So, and that goes back to what I was saying. We saw his reaction and his take on how Martell felt, but we've never seen him have that same energy for Mel. And to me, anything that Martell has or has went through, going through, whatever, he brought it on himself. Whereas this woman here, she didn't bring this into her marriage. She wasn't that. So I'm just trying to figure out why no one ever showed her. To me, none of these people on this show showed her any empathy when it came to that. Now, what they did behind the scenes, I'm not really sure. But to me, when it came down to everything that Mel was going through at the time, it doesn't seem like any of them showed her any type of empathy. So I'm going to just say that. But anywho, they go into pretty much, it goes into a commercial. Then they come back with some more of the sneak peeks from this upcoming season. Now, I did see where they're going to have and I want to say Melody hosted this tea party, and Miss Betty and Stormy was there. And Mel stated that she would wanted to apologize if she felt that her tweet or however was offensive. And pretty much Miss Betty that's how I knew who she was. Because honestly, y'all, I had never looked this woman up, never knew what, but that's how I knew who she was, because of the stank attitude. No, you don't. Like, what? Like, okay. And see, and people talk about apologizing and all of that, but sometimes you can apologize just to try to, be able to coexist and try to get past the drama so you be the better person. But then when somebody come back at you like this, and then it even seemed as though Stormy kind of was getting kind of petty and making slide comments as well. So I'm interested to see how that play out. Then it goes into Melody sitting down with the young lady stating that, she want to know if everybody know how Martell is still begging to be with her. Also, Martell is, of course, seen where he is having the upscale magazine launch or party or whatever that was. And they also show a scene where Martell asks Marceau and Maurice to model for his new underwear line. So y'all, I'm assuming he is gonna now come out with an underwear line. Maurice, if I'm not mistaken, saying, "Oh, well, I might need to go get surgery for that." I mean, so they joking around and all of that about it. But yeah, I guess there you have it, honey. I guess Martell will be coming out with some tidy whities pretty soon. Also, of course, they go over the scene where Kimmy is stating that now she no longer has cancer. We see a scene with Stormy and her family out there on their ranch. Marceau also goes into telling Tisha that he wants them to be better. But then we also see Tisha where she is seemed to be in her feelings, talking about that it shouldn't be no such businesses that she not aware of. And pretty much it sounded like to me, he told her something about you just should be in charge of the hiring and firing of people or something to that nature. So I guess he don't want her to make no big decisions. You can hire people and fire people, but when it come down to this rest of this stuff, I got this. And then also we see a scene where Kiowa has actually back on the show. Well, has made her presence known on the show. And it seems as though it was something dealing with Monster. And she asked, was he happy? I couldn't catch what he actually stated. But then I did hear where Maurice had pretty much said he felt that being that him and Kimmy are married and have been together for as long as they have, and I guess Monster living with them, he felt as though it was okay with Kimmy disciplining, Monster. Now what discipline being physical, punishing him, or however, I guess it is. And Kiowa ain't going for it. You could tell her reaction, nah. And as a matter of fact, I think she said no. Like, no, she not agreeing to that. Now with that, I don't know, y'all. It's kind of hard to say yay or nay whether they right or they wrong. I'm not really sure. It just kind of depends on the dynamic of it. I'm gonna put it like that. Then I also see where Sheree had said something we could see about her and Tiffany again and what they had going on. And pretty much sound like to me, Sheree said that she had been watching and following Tiffany for a while, and sound like to me she said something about Tiffany cheated too. Don't quote me on that because I missed it and couldn't rewind it. Also we see where it looks and appears that what we were talking about in the spa, it does look like Kiki and Stormy are the ones that's actually getting into it with each other. Then I see where Lou kind of pretty much after Tiffany told Lou about what had happened in the exchange and pretty much I guess how Martell had handled her, he said they will get it. They gonna get it. And so I see where Lou and Marceau even pass words. And then it looks as though him and the situation with Martell and the blow up, however, I don't know if it actually got really, really physical, but it definitely looked like it was headed that way. But anyway, y'all, that just seemed to be it. Again, if you had a chance to watch it, let me know how you felt about it. Are you excited about the upcoming season? I know I am. Let me know how you feel. Let me know about how you feel about any of the fans and what they said. Do you agree with any of them? Just let me know how you felt about it. Again, if you have not already, like the video, please like it on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And also turn on those notification bells because, of course, we going to keep these videos coming. And, of course, next week is going to be, So we definitely got to make sure we stay on top of everything. And I definitely will be reviewing the show and try to do the reviews the Saturday night, the same night. But if I don't, then of course I will come the next day. But I'm going to try to review those every night immediately after the episode ends. But of course, y'all, as always, I love each and every one of you. Y'all have a good night. Have a blessed Sunday. And good night, everyone.